Let's talk to us about the, or rather, you can talk to us about the NBA bubble. Explain about the bubble, how it works, what it is, and why they picked the most COVID-riven part of the world to decide that this is a good idea to put all of our eggs in the COVID bubble basket.
Yeah, it's kind of mad, isn't it? So we're 2 weeks out from the restart of the NBA season. Why they've picked Florida, I guess, on the outside looking in, it makes no sense. They had 10,000 cases again yesterday, the state of Florida alone. They picked Florida because of Disney World, and you can create a bubble in a massive industrial complex or something like Disney World. So that's exactly what they've done. You get brought into the bubble very securely. You isolate in your room for 36 hours. You return 2 negative tests, and then you can leave your room. But if you leave the bubble, it's a 10-day isolation you face when you come back. So they brought 22 teams into the bubble. It's not even between the two conferences. It's basically if you were within 6 games of getting a playoff spot, you would have been brought in. So the Western Conference, for example, has, I think, 13 teams and then just 9 teams in the Eastern Conference. There's been a bit of question marks around that. Why did they bring in so many teams? Could they have just gone straight to the playoffs? There could be a little bit of feeling your way into it when it comes to a competitive standpoint, which is no bad thing. So actually sorting out the seeding will feel like a preseason for the first few weeks and then into the playoffs after a little while. Like, one of the curious talking points over the last few days actually has been this anonymous hotline that the NBA have set up. So, like, we've been having this question here about the GEA about, do people rat a club out or a county team out for training too early? Well, you can snitch on your fellow NBA players by ringing this anonymous hotline. And apparently it's been hopping. The phone has been hopping. There have been plenty of calls going in, according to The Athletic this week, that NBA sources have said that plenty of people are calling to talk about breaches of protocol.
I mean, just think about this for 2 seconds, right? This is a multi-billion-dollar industry where players are going to make loads of money on the basis of success. And if your opposition is missing a point guard or their power forward or their best player because he's in quarantine, your chances of success are multiplied massively, particularly in the short space of time where this is all going to happen. If you are now one of those legalized people who can gamble in 10 or 15 states, the influence that you can have in terms of an outcome of a match by one player missing, by one anonymous phone call going, how are you there now? I was over there in the casino and LeBron he's put all the money on red. What? Like,
yeah,
I mean, what do they do?
I think as well, like, that's definitely part of it. I think in the States as well, there is just a much higher awareness of contracting the virus because of the fact that so many people have it. You step outside the bubble, you're stepping into Florida, which had 10,000 new cases yesterday alone. It is off the charts. Like, you've had interesting things happen. Like, by the way, there's been a number of positive tests. Russell Westbrook, probably the high-profile name to test positive, he hasn't gone into the bubble just yet, but you've had people decide to not go into the bubble. The Avery Bradley case is very, very interesting. He's got a 6-year-old son who's got respiratory issues, so he won't be going in. But it's also been mentioned that Kyrie Irving is leading a coalition, I should say, of players who are supporting the Black Lives Movement, and they feel that their cause of protest would actually be harmed by going into the bubble and going away from their communities. So that is one of the other reasons. You've got a lot of mystery around a few players as well who may or may not be going into the bubble. Victor Oladipo is one of those people who are literally undecided about going in. So, like, they're teasing us here a little bit with some of the players about whether or not they will go in. But for those that have gone into the bubble, I will say, Ger, it has been a social media goldmine. Some of the best content you'll ever see. They say reality TV is dead. The NBA bubble has brought back reality TV in all its beautiful glory. And everyone is staying in pretty nice accommodation. But according to some players, it's not nice enough. Rajon Rondo, for example, posted this on his Instagram account. Like, this is top quality resort stuff. And he compared his room to a Motel 6 room, as you can see from his caption. So that didn't go down very well. Then we've got the food. So the food obviously has to be dropped off at the room in disposable cartons. You can't have any silverware, you can't have any plates due to hygiene issues. So it doesn't look great, but it looks fine. So we had Jeff Goodman on Twitter reporting that one player told him that the food is trash. And you can see these images on screen now. I'm not sure what you'd rate these dishes out of 10, Ger. They don't look amazing.
Duck and broccoli. That's the duck and pineapple. a bit of red onion. I mean, they don't look, they're not very well presented.
Exactly, and that is the only issue here. So when Goodman posted on Twitter that an NBA player said that the food is trash, you can imagine that did not go down well on social media. They're coming across a little bit spoilt. However, the man who came along and saved the day and saved the face of the entire NBA organization is J.R. Smith, because he did an Instagram live video, which a lot of you have probably seen at this point. It is hilarious. It is worth checking out in its entirety. Here is his take on some of the food they've been given in the bubble.
These professional athletes and all that, right? 35, 34, 30, 400 million making from some of these dudes. 30, 40, 50 million a year. You want to eat this shit? But then be over there crying, talking about somebody can't stay healthy and their body breaking down and all this other shit. Just saying, bro. I'm just saying, you want a Ferrari to run like a Ferrari because you paid for it as a Ferrari, but you keep gassing it up with a Chrysler shit. That's just me, though. It's whatever, man. Y'all do what y'all want to do. I'm just happy to be back, baby. Just happy to be back, man. You know what I'm saying?
Apologies for any young ears that might have been offended by the S-bomb. Come here. So he was saying, I'm not eating this. And it was, for our radio listeners, it was a picture of sweets or candy, as he would say. He's complaining that everybody else is eating sugary sweets?
I guess so. Like, that's been the drop that they'd been given on day one.
Oh,
like
they were given, everybody was given that?
Yeah. So
okay.
It's obviously not great, and the reaction has been interesting. Like, I would highly recommend going and looking at the full Instagram live. The NBA were not happy about him doing this. It's hilarious. It's brilliant. J.R. Smith is fantastic. But you had players then who came into the bubble after this, and Steven Adams said that his other half made him a load of lasagna to bring into the bubble with him. Kyle Kuzma said he brought a panini machine into the bubble with him. You had someone like Richaun Holmes of Sacramento Kings, this is my favorite story of the bubble so far. So he was sick of the food that they were being given in the bubble, so he went to get a delivery, but he went to meet the delivery guy by crossing the campus line in his hotel, by leaving the bubble essentially, and he is now facing 10 additional days as a result of leaving the bubble. So it's not ideal. There's the food has been the big talking point. The accommodation has been the other big talking point. And just one last one on this. We'll have one last look around the campus because I hadn't even considered this, that LeBron James might actually get better accommodation than everybody else. But Austin Rivers of the Houston Rockets posted this video yesterday.
Man, I told y'all, everybody keep asking if I seen Bron, man. Y'all know Bron ain't staying where we staying, man. Y'all know LeBron this LeBron room right here. This whole thing. This whole damn building LeBron room. And they put everybody else over here. Stop asking me that. Y'all know he ain't staying where we staying at.
Is that true?
I think it is, yeah.
Is it? He's got the whole building. He's got a hangar.
I think so. I mean, he's getting seriously preferential treatment in the bubble, which is incredible, really. There's been a few other brilliant stories then from the last few days. The NBA are trying to make things more fun for the players in the bubble. So they've got 3 separate hotels in the Walt Disney Resort, and they put a DJ into each of these hotels just to get the party going. One person in total showed up. It was Dwight Howard on his own, showing up to watch a DJ, and that was it. You do have a few people making their own fun, Lou Williams has brought in his own recording studio, basically, to finish up a project he's working on. But JJ Redick is having the most fun of everybody, I think is fair to say. Here he is. This is JJ Redick of the Pelicans getting his recovery ice bath in.
Oh, that's the one. That's the one. That's the one.
What was in the can? He was shotgunning a can there. What was in it?
I presume it was beer.
Right. And they're having the crack.
They are having the crack. And it's interesting as well when you look into some of the rules and regulations around having the crack in the bubble. There will be no testing when it comes to recreational drugs. Well, rather, that's the recreational tests or the test for recreational drugs will remain suspended.
So there'll be no, they're all, I mean, that's, the care package was sweets and crisps and chocolate, and they're saying, we're not going to test you for anything that you might smoke that might result in you needing this. We all know what's going on here, is basically what the NBA is saying.
Completely, and Marcus Thompson did a great piece yesterday breaking down how much weed you would actually need to bring in to the bubble. So that's what they've been talking about over the last couple of days. There is a mental health aspect to all of this. Like, you are going to be locked away for quite a period of time if you make it to the finals.
How long?
It's going to be months and months.
When?
Till October.
So what are we at now? We're at July to October. I mean,
it's a long old stint. The other thing about this now, and especially when it comes to the restart of the league, like we've seen it in the Premier League, when it comes to protests immediately after kickoff and Black Lives Matter on the back of the jerseys. The NBA's way of doing this is that they've given players a list of 29 options from which to choose. So vote, I can't breathe, justice, peace, equality are just some of the names that you could have chosen. One of the slogans you could have chosen to put on your jersey when play resumes. But interestingly, LeBron James is going to be one of the players who is not going to do that, and he explained that this week.
I actually didn't go with a name on the back of my jersey, and it was, it's no disrespect to the list that was handed out to all the players. I commend anyone that decides to put something on the back of their jersey. It's just something that didn't really, seriously resonate with my mission, with my goal. I would have loved to have a say-so on what would have went on the back of my jersey. I had a couple of things in mind, but I wasn't a part of that process, which is okay. I'm absolutely okay with that. So what I will continue to do, off the floor and when I'm talking to you guys and when I'm, everything that I do has a purpose and has a meaning. So I don't need to have something on the back of my jersey for people to understand my mission or know what I'm about and what I'm here to do.
Okay, I mean, that's interesting. It would have been better, I suppose, to have him involved early, and so he could have put whatever he wanted on the back of his jersey. It'd be interesting to know what he wanted to put on the back of his jersey as well, but I don't think anybody can question, at this stage of his career, LeBron's activism, so it'll be interesting to see what he has planned and what his next stage of his mission is.
Yeah, I guess he kind of wanted to stand out from the crowd again, maybe by not having something, and maybe his own protest would be more significant by not picking one of those slogans. It's interesting, and a slight dig at the fact that he wasn't involved in the process of picking one of the 29 names that people could put on their jerseys. But that's his decision. Like most vast majority of players are going to go with a name on the back of their jersey. And that is kind of the state of play there at the moment.
Any final thoughts?
I kind of was thinking that it must be just a really pointless place to be if you're a journalist at the moment, because you look at all the media that's coming through, it's all being done on Zoom. Like, there's no sidling up the players and actually interviewing them. There's going to be no locker rooms during the entirety of the bubble. Like, the point of being a reporter on the ground seems entirely pointless at this point. You could stay at home, and I heard Bill Simmons saying that they weren't going to send a reporter to the bubble. There is a fair share of media already there, and I'm like, you're working from your hotel room for the entire time. It wouldn't be a great place to be a journalist, basically.
Although, there are worse things to be in a very safe, sterile environment where the sun is going to shine and the swimming pools are nice, and you've got that care package and it turns out access to whatever you want.